His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa issued today Royal Order 28 for this year, establishing the High Committee for Financial Cooperation and Coordination. The committee will be chaired by His Majesty the King's representative for Charity Work and Youth Affairs, with the membership of the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Oil, Head of the Royal Protocol, the Director General of the Office of the First Deputy Premier, the CEO of the Economic Development Board, and Mr. Abdullah Al Zain. The committee will perform the duties assigned to it by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and will present to him periodic reports on the committee's work. His Majesty the King also issued Decree 39, reorganising the Supreme Council for Education, Decree 40, amending Article 2 of Decree 5 of 2013 regarding establishment of the Supreme Council for Health, and Decree 41, amending Article 18 of Decree 25 of 2008 regarding the work system of the Future Generations Reserves Council. In addition, His Majesty the King accredited and issued Law 12 for 2016, agreeing for Bahrain to join the agreement on establishing the International Anti-Corruption Academy as an international organisation. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received today at Safriya Palace, in the presence of His Royal Highness the Prime Minister, Prince Khalifa bin Salman Al Khalifa, the newly appointed Minister of Oil, Sheikh Mohammed bin Khalifa bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, who took his legal oath before His Majesty.
أن أكون مخلصا للوطن وللملك وأن أحترم الدستور وقوانين الدولة وأن أذود عن حريات الشعب ومصالحه وأمواله وأن أؤدي أعمالي بالأمانة والصدق.
His Majesty congratulated the Minister, wishing him success in performing the responsibility of serving the country and its people and commending his competence and expertise which qualify him for his position. He affirmed that Bahrain will continue achieving its development programmes in all fields in order to meet the aspirations of the citizens, stressing the need for stronger cooperation in this march to achieve progress. He expressed pride in Bahrain's achievements in various fields, locally and internationally. The Prime Minister praised the directives of His Majesty the King, wishing the Minister further success in his new position. The Minister then thanked His Majesty the King, pledging to serve the Kingdom and its people. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa visited today the Royal Guard in the presence of the BDF Commander-in-Chief, Field Marshal Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, the Minister of Defence Affairs and senior officers. His Majesty was received by the Royal Guard Commander Brigadier General His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa and the Royal Guard Special Force Commander Major His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa. His Majesty was greeted by a number of senior officers. Then the national anthem was played. His Majesty then inspected the Guard of Honour. The ceremony started with recitations of the Holy Quran.
قوة الواجب الرابعة تتقدم بهيئة الاستعراض إلى الأمام. معتدل سر. قوة ستريت.
سيدي، يتشرف العميد الركن سمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد آل خليفة قائد الحرس الملكي.
After that, the commander of the Royal Guard, Brigadier General Hussein Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad, delivered a speech in which he expressed his congratulations to His Majesty the King on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan on behalf of all BDF affiliates and prayed to Allah Almighty to grant him abundant health. He expressed pride in His Majesty's honouring the officers in recognition of their dedication and courage while performing their sacred national duty. He recalled the huge sacrifices made by Bahraini soldiers who died while performing their duty and prayed to God to rest their souls in eternal peace and wished the injured a speedy recovery.
ونحن على أبواب شهر رمضان المبارك، والذي أتشرف أن أرفع لمقام جلالتكم باسمي وباسم كافة منسوبي قوة الدفاع أسمى آيات التهاني والتبريكات بقدوم الشهر الفضيل، والذي نتذرع به إلى باري العز وجل أن يحفظكم وينعم عليكم بالصحة والعافية وطولة العمر، وأن يحفظ مملكتنا وشعبها من كل سوء ومكروه. سيدي صاحب الجلالة، ها هم أبنائك الأبطال العائدين من ساحات وجبهات القتال، والذين يتشرفون بتكريم جلالتكم لهم ومنحهم الأوسمة التي يستحقونها. قد عزز هذا التكريم من لدن جلالتكم في نفوس أبنائك معاني التضحية والشجاعة والإقدام والمحبة والانتماء لهذا الوطن ولملكه حفظكم الله. سيدي، أما أبنائك المقاتلين المتواجدين حاليا في ساحات الرجولة والشرف على الحدود الجنوبية للشقيقة الكبرى المملكة العربية السعودية وعلى أرض اليمن الشقيق في جميع الجبهات، يقفون أقوياء بمبادئهم وأعزاء بكرامتهم، يقاتلون بكل احترافية واقتدار سندا لإخوانهم ودفاعا عن دينهم ونصرة لعروبتهم. سيدي صاحب الجلالة، نستذكر في هذه الأيام المباركة شهدائنا الأبرار والمصابين التي لا زالت ذكراهم تدوي في سماء وطننا دفاعا عن الدين والوطن، فنسأل الله أن يرحم شهدائنا وأن يسكنهم فسيح جناته، وأن يشفي المصابين الذين قدموا التضحيات والفداء في سبيل رفعة الدين وعزة الوطن ونصرة الأشقاء. كما يزيدنا فخرا واعتزازا بأن عددا من المصابين بعد أن تم شفاهم بعون الله وقدرته قد شاركوا مرة أخرى في الواجبات مع إخوانهم، ومنهم من سيتم تكريمه من لدن جلالتكم في هذا اليوم، ومنهم من هو موجود حاليا على جبهة القتال. سيدي، إن أبنائك في قوة الدفاع يتسابقون في الانضمام إلى مجموعات القتال بكل عزيمة وإصرار، واضعين نصب أعينهم إطاعة الله والملك والوطن، مرتكزين على هذه المبادئ والقيم التي وضعتموها جلالتكم منذ عهد التأسيس لقواتكم المسلحة الباسلة، والتي نشأ وتربى عليها أبنائكم حفاظا على الدين والهوية والذود عن الوطن. حفظكم الله سيدي للبحرين وللأمة العربية والإسلامية، وأيدكم الله بنصره. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Officer Jamal Mutlaq Al-Owen recited a poem.
جمال العون السردي بإلقاء قصيدة بهذه المناسبة.
صلوا على النبي. بحرين يا درة على الأرض مجملك، بحرين يا درة على الأرض مجملك، يا زهام من الياقوت والماس والعاج، رب السماء بعيوننا حيل جملك، أرواحنا تفداك واجسادنا سياج، يا وجهة المشتاق ما حي يجهلك، يا قبلة المحتاج يوم الزمن راج، يا دار يا دار يا دار من قادك للأمجاد وصلك، وعرف بك العالم وشيد بك أبراج، هذاك أبو سلمان بالعلم أهلك، وأمن حدود الدار مدخل ومخراج. يا دار من قادك للأمجاد وصلك، وعرف بك العالم وشيد بك أبراج، هذاك أبو سلمان بالعلم أهلك، وأمن حدود الدار مدخل ومخراج. يا سيدي يا سيدي يا سيدي موفاك مصعبك مسهلك، سقم على العدوان وللصاحب علاج، الجود يمك والمروءات ساحلك، والمكرمات تفيض من كفك أمواج، للملك هيبة وانت يا هيبة الملك، وللتاج نشوة وانت يا نشوة التاج، الملك يكمل بك حشا ما يكملك، والتاج محتاجك حشا ما انت محتاج. للملك هيبة وانت يا هيبة الملك، وللتاج نشوة وانت يا نشوة التاج، الملك يكمل بك حشا ما يكملك، والتاج محتاجك حشا ما انت محتاج. يا منتهى طيب البشر من تأملك، يتأكد انك في دجى ليلة اسراج، يمناك ما تعطيه تخفيه عن تلك، انا اشهد انك للجويد منهاج، فوق الثريا والكواكب منازلك، وان جيت للديره مثل عين هداج، رب السماء رب السماء لقيادة الناس أهلك، نجمك سطع بين الأكوان وهاج. سلامتك يا طول عمرك.
نستأذن جلالتكم بتوزيع الأوسمة على المشاركين بقوة الواجب الخاصة رقم
His Majesty
4.
the King decorated a number of officers, non-commissioned officers and members of the Special Operations Duty Forces of the Royal Guard in recognition of carrying out their duties to the fullest. They exchanged congratulations on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan, wishing His Majesty good health and happiness. His Majesty wished the officers a blessed month and many happy returns for Bahrain, the Arab and Islamic nations. On the advent of the holy month, His Majesty prayed for the officers who sacrificed their lives while performing their national duty to rest their souls in eternal peace, and wished the officers success in assuming their national duties inside and outside the country. His Majesty the King expressed pride in the bravery of Royal Guard troops and their high competence in performing their duties in Operation Restore Hope, alongside their brethren in the Saudi-led Arab coalition to protect legitimacy in Yemen. His Highness Sheikh Nasser then briefed His Majesty on various operations, and His Majesty spoke by phone to a number of Royal Guard officers on duty in Yemen, expressing pride and appreciation of their efforts, congratulating them on the advent of the holy month and wishing them every success.
يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر الإدارة. الرائد حسن بن محمد آل خليفة ركن عمليات القيادة المشتركة في عدن يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري. الرائد خميس خليفة الكعبي قائد مجموعة الأمن والحماية يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر الأمن والحماية. الرائد ركن عيسى علي البعينين ركن استخبارات قوة الواجب رقم 4 يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري. النقيب عمر محمد الغنيم قائد سرية العمليات الخاصة يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر قيادة السرية. ملازم أول علي بن إبراهيم آل خليفة القوة الخاصة الملكية يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر المجموعة. الملازم عبد الله راشد نعيمي قائد مجموعة العمليات الخاصة في مأرب يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري. الملازم أول عبد الرحمن أحمد الدوسري قائد مجموعة العمليات الخاصة يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري. الملازم سمو الشيخ حمد بن سلمان آل خليفة القوة الخاصة الملكية يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري. الوكيل الأول محمد حسن محمد وحدة الصيانة الفنية الملكية يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر المجموعة. الوكيل جاسم عبد الله جاسم وحدة هندسة الميدان الملكية يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر المجموعة. الوكيل عبد العزيز عبد الله محمد وحدة الاتصالات الملكية يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر المجموعة. الوكيل محمد علي حامد مجموعة المدربين يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر المجموعة. الوكيل فؤاد حمد ناصر وكيل مجموعة العمليات الخاصة يستلم وسام الواجب العسكري ويستلم بالإنابة عن عناصر المجموعة.
عيش جلالة الملك المفدى! عيش! عيش جلالة الملك المفدى! عيش! عيش جلالة الملك المفدى! عيش! عيش! عيش!
His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Khalifa received a cable of good wishes from His Royal Highness the Prime Minister, Prince Khalifa bin Salman Al Khalifa, on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. In his cable, His Royal Highness the Prime Minister wished His Majesty the King continued health and happiness, and to Bahrain and its people further progress and prosperity. His Majesty the King sent a reply cable to His Royal Highness the Prime Minister, thanking him for his cable and appreciating His Royal Highness the Prime Minister's noble sentiments and wishing him continued health and happiness. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Khalifa received a cable of good wishes from the Crown Prince, Deputy Supreme Commander and First Deputy Prime Minister, His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. In his cable, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince wished His Majesty the King continued health and happiness, and to Bahrain and its people further progress and prosperity. His Majesty the King sent a reply cable to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, thanking him for his congratulations, wishing him continued health and happiness, and to the people of Bahrain and the Arab and Islamic states further progress and prosperity. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa held phone calls today. The Emir of Kuwait, His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, the Emir of Qatar, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and the Eastern Province Governor, His Royal Highness Prince Saud bin Naif bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. His Majesty the King wished them prosperity and welfare for their peoples, as well as the Arab and Islamic nations. His Royal Highness the Prime Minister, Prince Khalifa bin Salman Al Khalifa, received a cable of good wishes from His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Deputy Supreme Commander and First Deputy Premier, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. In his cable, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince wished His Royal Highness the Prime Minister continued health and happiness, and to Bahrain and its people, as well as Arab and Islamic states, further progress and prosperity. In a reply cable, His Royal Highness the Prime Minister thanked His Royal Highness the Crown Prince for his noble sentiments, wishing the people of Bahrain and other Arab and Islamic states many happy returns. His Royal Highness the Prime Minister, Prince Khalifa bin Salman Al Khalifa, received at Gudabia Palace a number of media personnel, journalists and cultural figures. His Royal Highness affirmed that terrorism must be combated with awareness and caution, asserting the importance of enhancing cooperation to reinforce the security and stability of the country, since these are the main pillars of comprehensive development. He said attempts to incite sedition and division among the people would never succeed, thanks to their wisdom and awareness, as well as their understanding of the agendas aimed at harming their country's security. The Prime Minister said that regional and international security and economic challenges require every country to exercise greater caution in order to preserve their stability. He stressed the government's efforts to upgrade human resources by reinforcing an economic environment that strengthens the national economy and attracts all kinds of investment. He highlighted the government's keenness to meet the demands of the people across Bahrain's cities and villages, in line with a comprehensive development strategy based on identifying the people's problems and working to solve them. He stressed the importance of promoting Bahrain's tradition of communication within society in order to consolidate national unity and cohesion. The meeting also touched on the national role of journalism, with the Prime Minister commending the role of journalists and writers in elevating the awareness of the people and facing all attempts to harm the country. He urged them to continue their work and express the people's aspirations with freedom and openness. The Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs held its regular meeting today under the chairmanship of Sheikh Abdullah bin Khalid Al Khalifa, in the presence of the Deputy Chairman, Sheikh Abdurrahman bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Khalifa. The Council congratulated His Majesty the King and their Royal Highnesses the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. The Council urged everyone to avail from the spiritual atmosphere of this blessed month in boosting family bonds, charitable and philanthropic deeds and welfare. The meeting discussed items on its agenda, including investment plans of the Sunni and Jafariya Endowments Directorates. The Council decided to refer the two directorates' plans to the relevant committee, which will submit its report to the Council. The Council reviewed the latest developments regarding the Quran Recitation Institute, the preparation of teachers, and the Institute's organisational structure. It stressed the importance of unity among Muslims, upholding firm bonds in the Islamic nation without discrimination or division, and preserving the security and stability of nations based on the teachings of Islam. The meeting stressed the importance of safeguarding the community from sectarian strife and of keeping religious platforms and places of worship away from things that might tarnish their sanctity. The Council concluded its meeting by reviewing incoming correspondence and taking the necessary action in response. Under the patronage of the King's Representative for Charity Work and Youth Affairs and Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and in the presence of the first Vice Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports and President of Bahrain Athletics Association, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the award distribution ceremony for the Sheikh Isa bin Rashid Al Khalifa for voluntary work in the sports field was held at the Sofitel Hotel this evening. On this occasion, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa stressed that the Sheikh Isa bin Rashid Al Khalifa Award for voluntary work in the field of sports will highlight Bahrain's work in sports, hailing the outstanding level of Bahraini sportsmen at regional, continental and global levels. Then His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa honoured the 70 leading athletes who assumed membership of the boards of Arab, regional and international associations and organisations for their outstanding contributions. The first Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, President of West Asian Athletics Federation and President of Bahrain Athletics Association, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, was granted the Sheikh Isa bin Rashid Al Khalifa Award for voluntary work in the sports field in a ceremony held under the patronage of the King's Representative for Charity Work and Youth Affairs and Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, in the Sofitel Hotel Zalak. 70 leading Gulf athletes were also honoured in the ceremony. His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa said that the prize is only a real drive towards more efforts in serving youth and sports and to achieve the strategy set by His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa to continue the development of this vital area in Bahrain. His Highness also thanked the Bahrain Olympic Committee under the chairmanship of His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa for their efforts in the preparation of the event. The Deputy Prime Minister, head of the Ministerial Committee for Reconstruction and Infrastructure, Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, patronised today the laying of the foundation stone of the Dirat Al Ayun housing project at Diyar Maharak and the launching of the Mazaya housing programme. The Deputy Prime Minister affirmed the government's commitment to providing Bahraini citizens with the best housing facilities and hailed the partnership between the Housing Ministry and real estate developers, banks and companies of the Mazaya project. He also hoped that the project would encourage real estate companies to increase cooperation with the Housing Ministry in order to implement new housing projects. For his part, the Housing Minister, Bassem Yaqub Al-Hama, thanked the leadership for supporting the housing sector and affirmed that 1,500 people are benefiting from the Mazaya project. He added that Mazaya project had achieved its goal of providing citizens with housing units within record time and expressed the Ministry's keenness to enhance cooperation with the private sector. Diyar Al Maharak Board Chairman Abdul Hakim Al Khayat expressed pride in the cooperation between the Ministry of Housing and Diyar Maharak, which contributed in launching a number of initiatives and strategies aimed at supporting housing projects in the Kingdom. Under the patronage of the Interior Minister, Lieutenant General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, and in the presence of the Housing Minister, a ceremony was held today at the Ministry of the Interior to distribute 21 units of the Bulletins housing project. The Minister of the Interior expressed congratulations to His Majesty the King and their Royal Highnesses the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince, Deputy Supreme Commander and First Deputy Premier on the advent of the holy month of Ramadan. He also thanked His Majesty for supporting security personnel in appreciation of their dedication in performing their duty of maintaining the kingdom's security and its national gains, and prayed to Allah Almighty to preserve Bahrain's security and prosperity under the leadership of His Majesty the King. The Minister then thanked the Ministry of Works, Municipality Affairs and Urban Planning, the Housing Ministry and the Electricity and Water Authority for their contribution in implementing the project within the set time frame. He expressed pride in the cooperation between the Interior and Housing Ministries and highlighted the Ministry's keenness to implement more housing projects for the Ministry of the Interior in recognition of the huge sacrifices made by security personnel. The Interior Minister then presented officers with the keys to their new homes. The Minister of Education, Dr. Majid Al Naemi, and the Executive Director of Injaz Bahrain, Sheikh Hassa bint Khalifa Al Khalifa, signed today 2 MOUs. The first, stipulating that Injaz Bahrain will provide programmes and workshops for students of public and private schools and students of higher education institutions for 5 years in order to develop their skills in projects implementation and entrepreneurship. The Minister of Education praised the efforts of Sheikh Hassa in supporting Bahrain's educational march, hailing the cooperation between the Ministry and Injaz Bahrain. The second MOU stipulates the improvement of programmes presented to students. Sheikh Hassa lauded the Education Ministry's role in the success reached by Injaz Bahrain, highlighting that Injaz had trained more than 100 students, affirming that the expansion of the institution's programmes was thanks to the training programmes provided for public and private school students. A major telecommunications project, Bahrain Wi-Fi, was unveiled to the public this evening. This service is designed to help attract businesses and tourists to Bahrain and support its vision of being a leading regional communications hub. Danielle Taporto reports.
Under the patronage of Minister of Transportation and Telecommunications, Engineer Kamal bin Ahmed Mohammed, Bahrain Wi-Fi was launched by Batelco at the Bahrain International Circuit's Sakir Tower. This nationwide rollout of public access Wi-Fi hotspots supports Bahrain's vision of being a leading communications hub with an advanced digital platform offering smart city solutions.
The hotspot that they will provide in the different locations in Bahrain, tourism location, educational location, and even public places, will definitely enhance the infrastructure to provide good services for our visitors as well as for the people who are living in Bahrain. We think together Wi-Fi hotspots, Wi-Fi Bahrain, and other also initiatives like the broadband, the national broadband that we are going to build hopefully during the next 3 years, will enhance the infrastructure, the telecom infrastructure in Bahrain, and will enable the growth and enable the digital economy in Bahrain.
The initial stage involves around 20 locations, with more than 50 set to be in operation by the end of this year. Bahrain Wi-Fi will be available to all residents and tourists in every region of the kingdom on any Wi-Fi enabled devices. Batelco's mobile customers will be automatically connected to the service whenever they enter one of the Wi-Fi hotspots, while everyone else will benefit from a limited daily complimentary allocation with the option to purchase additional access.
The speed, as of today, for example, we have tried the speed and it was around 480 megabits per second, and it all depends on the number